It is regarded as the world's toughest race for solar cars, the World Solar Challenge. More than 3,000 kilometers across Australia, from north to south, through the entire continent. For more than 3 decades, the legendary competition continues to challenge man and machine. Over 50 teams from 20 countries are fighting for victory, including Team Sonnenwagen Aachen from Germany. Like all participants, they face the challenge of surviving the Australian outback's extreme conditions. They're competing against the world's most renowned universities and against the forces of Mother Nature.
Oh man,
I'm a little scared. Which solar vehicle can cope with the long journey? Who will be the fastest from Darwin in the north to Adelaide in the south? And which teams will be left behind? The 2019 World Solar Challenge. Full throttle with solar power. Darwin, October 2019. It's qualifying day. 53 teams from 20 countries come together to determine the fastest vehicles and thus the best starting positions. A team of 45 students from the RWTH and FH Aachen are in the lineup. Their Covestro Sonnenwagen took a good 2 years to develop. Today the vehicle will be tested to its limits for the first time. Qualifying requires fast laps. That means maximum speed and the quickest lap times possible, similar to Formula One. Today it's all about dynamic scrutineering. That means that we first have to drive a hot lap to determine our starting position in tomorrow's race. Then we have to do a slalom and a brake test, simply to show that our vehicle meets the requirements. And if it all works out, we pick up our number plate and then we're ready to compete tomorrow. The aim of the World Solar Challenge is to promote the research and development of solar mobility and present it to the public effectively. The decisive factors in competing for the title are proof of outstanding development and the efficient use of available solar energy. The engine's in here. It's a wheel hub motor. That means the engine has no transmission as in a conventional car, but the engine is directly integrated in the tire. We did improve the motor's heat resistance with Covestro. We did this primarily to drive the hot laps in qualifying. That means doing very fast laps. The faster the lap gets, the more we have to accelerate, the hotter the engine gets. The new engine gives us quite an advantage in that respect. The team itself is quietly confident. At the last World Solar Challenge, they were awarded the Best Newcomer title and took bronze at the smaller European Solar Challenge. Before the race, it's important to prepare physically as well as what I just did. I went through all the bends once again, but because it also gets very warm, you have to drink a lot. Just go over all the procedures we've discussed. We're not doing this for the first time. I think I'm pretty well prepared for it. Finally, the time has come. Once the final preparations are done, it's time for the car to hit the racetrack. The tension's rising. Now the driver's on his own. Qualifying starts better than expected. It's possible to compare lap times straight off with those of the other teams, just over 2 minutes per lap. But now the team really wants to go for it. They send Covestro Sonnenwagen off on another fast lap. At the risk of overheating the electric motor, it's time for full throttle.
59! Yes! Yeah! Under 2 minutes!
We did it. We broke the magic 2-minute mark. Cheers break out for the driver, one of 4 in the later race. We're of course very happy that we've set another new speed record, that we have a new personal best. I think we're second overall now. I don't think we expected that we'd be going so fast with an arrow too. Sure, we're really chuffed, and I'm totally relieved everything worked out so well. But the upcoming race won't be decided on speed alone. Skillful use of energy is at least as important. Because if you run out of juice, you won't even see the finish line. Day X has arrived. The official start of the race is imminent. Team Sonnenwagen Aachen starts the race from position 2, but that initial delight has already given way once again to nervousness. An old racing sage once said, "The race isn't won in qualifying, only lost." That's why preparations are being made to ensure good starting positions aren't jeopardized in the race. The finishing touches on the car, just checking everything again after the scrutineering. Brakes, all systems essentially. Which of you is at the wheel today? Christoph's up first. He's about to get in the car and get us started. The traditional World Solar Challenge takes place every 2 years and dates back to 1982, when the first competition of this kind took place. Unlike in Formula One, not all cars start here at the same time, but with a time delay. So, how are you? The last few minutes before the race. That's it. A bit excited, definitely. Sure, it was a lot of work. Now we're finally getting started. You've raced here before, haven't you? That's right, I've driven before. I've never been a starter. There is a lot of traffic, especially in Darwin. Lots of traffic lights. You have to deal with plenty other vehicles on the road. It's definitely going to be exciting. Finally, Covestro Sonnenwagen's adventure begins. Exactly 3,022 kilometers have to be covered, driving in convoy. A scout vehicle drives about half an hour ahead of Sonnenwagen. It reports weather data and track conditions by radio, reports the position of other teams, and keeps an eye out for suitable places for the night's camp. The first obstacles soon appear. A tree has fallen on the road. The approaching Sonnenwagen is warned by radio. Due to its low construction, the driver doesn't have a good view of the road. A crash at this speed would be extremely dangerous. Should I stop? Directly behind Sonnenwagen is the so-called racing strategy, also called chase. It's in constant radio contact with the driver, collects weather and telemetry data, and thus calculates what is currently the optimum speed for the solar vehicle. Driving is only permitted between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. precisely. So-called control stops allow 30-minute breaks, during which time touching of the vehicle is strictly prohibited. As soon as the time begins, no one's allowed to touch it. If you touch the car, the half hour starts all over again. I heard about a case where a team forgot to put the brake on. The wind rolled the vehicle away. To stop it, they had to touch the car. And then the half hour started all over again. After numerous hours in the Australian desert, the first of today's 2 control points is reached. But Team Sonnenwagen Aachen has dropped a few places. Especially out of Darwin, it was relatively difficult. We had a lot of red traffic lights. Quite a few cars got ahead of us at the beginning. After that, everything ran well. The car's going nicely, we're going fast, and everything else is going according to plan. As the race goes on, some solar vehicles begin to have technical defects. However, Sonnenwagen continues to purr along without any difficulties and reaches the first night camp that evening. The next morning, they felt the tension. The start on the day before was not ideal. In Darwin's dense traffic, the team dropped back to position 6 due to lack of experience. But the positioning is still close together, both to the front and to the rear. Closely behind lies Michigan. They parked 200 meters away, but they can't leave until a minute later. Turkey is also relatively close behind us. The race to catch up begins about 40 kilometers south of Daly Waters. The conditions are good because the vehicle itself is a masterpiece of engineering. The students installed 890 solar cells. The extremely thin and small solar panels on the car are usually mounted on satellites in space. They're almost twice as efficient as the cells that are domestically used on roofs of houses. But they're also very expensive. With a full energy charge, the solar car achieves a range of about 500 kilometers with a weight of only 170 kilograms. The maximum speed of around 140 kilometers is made possible thanks to the use of a new material from materials partner Covestro. This allows the motor to withstand higher temperatures than usual. After many lonely hours in the narrow cockpit, the drivers reached the next control stop. As it turns out, not all teams on the track show consideration for the others. So our problem was that normally you should, if possible, overtake the complete convoy consisting of lead, solo vehicle and chase. That hasn't been the case for a long time. We didn't have the lead in sight, which isn't the problem for now, but over time it gets annoying. Then we were overhauled, and the team that overtook us then directly reduced its speed, so we had to match that speed. We wanted to keep our target speed, but couldn't overtake directly. That was very exhausting, very annoying. After a short breather, we returned to the track. There is no time to lose during departure. Everyone must go to their vehicle and complete their tasks. Are we late now? Yes, it's fine though. But we have to go now, so we can stay ahead of the lead. Otherwise, we won't be able to do our job properly. That's why the two guides should be coming here now. We're going 100 kilometers per hour. Australia's so-called road trains prove to be an obstacle again and again. These oversized trucks are difficult to oversee and just as difficult to overtake. However, the full potential of the Covestro Sonnenwagen is shown while free riding. Two more teams can be overtaken. But at 5 p.m. the solar car must come to a standstill according to the rules. The scout vehicle in front therefore looked for a suitable place to stop and found one. We're standing in the sun, and because we know that the next 8 kilometers ahead doesn't have sun, this is a good place. And I think we found a very good sunspot. That's where everything went smoothly. We haven't found a perfect place to camp ourselves, but the place in the sun is more important. Team Sonnenwagen Aachen is satisfied with the race so far. Their convoy can keep up well with the top field. We're now at kilometer 1,341. We're now in 4th place after having been 7th temporarily. So we caught up pretty well, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. What nobody knows at this point is that the greatest challenges and dangers lie ahead of them. In the middle of the Australian outback, far away from civilization, Team Sonnenwagen Aachen continues to fight for victory in the prestigious World Solar Challenge.
Heute ist Tag 3.
It's day 3 today. We're about 160 kilometers away from Alice Springs, and that's where we're headed now. We expect to be there about 9:45. We'll make the first control stop for today. Afterwards, we're heading to Kulgera. There's the second control stop we're approaching today. Later in the afternoon, we cross the border to South Australia. The weather will be exciting today. After we had a lot of sunshine on the first day and yesterday, it got a bit dark yesterday evening. We then had to see how the whole thing develops over the course of the day. But we're very confident it will be good.
Sind aber sehr zuversichtlich, dass es gut werden wird.
On the seemingly endless highways, the journey becomes a drag, especially in the narrow cockpit. It's fully trimmed for racing and doesn't offer any comfort to save weight. And it's not just the heat that puts an extra strain on the drivers. Yes, it's getting very warm, but especially the noise is enormous, because we're sitting between the tires completely undamped. That's why when you drive over the racetrack or the highway at 100 kilometers per hour, it gets very loud. No further overtaking maneuvers are possible until the first control stop, but the gap to the top 3 is getting shorter and shorter. Every second counts.
Yeah. 70.
Getting out is always stressful. And then I run over here and press this red button. From then on, the time applies. Half an hour until the next driver may start again. In the afternoon, the expected weather change comes, but it's stronger than they thought. Monitoring the weather data and wind speeds shows that a sandstorm is building up. Kilometer 89, radiation 60. I repeat, kilometer 89, radiation 60, come in. Kilometer 89, radiation 60, come in. If the wind comes from the other direction, it's negative, come in. To the left of the road. We're going out now to guide you out. The race strategy decides to stop. The ultra-lightweight racing car must be protected from being swept away by the approaching storm. Another problem, the large amount of sand in the air could damage the sensitive solar cells. A continuation of the journey, let alone a victory, would then be impossible. The convoy is gathering to protect the Sonnenwagen. But as fast as the storm came up, it also passes again in the end. Basically, it turned out well, so the car got dirty, but I haven't found any damage yet. If larger stones had been whirled up there, it could have ended badly if the solar cells had been damaged. That wouldn't be good at all. They're responsible for converting solar energy into electricity. Everything looks fine though. I guess we were really lucky. So that just now was pretty adventurous. The last stage too. Yesterday it was more about racing itself. Today it's more about the weather. Because in the end we had little sun, but a lot of wind. We basically drove ahead of the sandstorm. Then we were stopped by the side. It was 5 p.m. and then it caught up with us. And we stood in front of the car and built a kind of wall to protect the solar cells. But then they got caught up in a sandstorm. It almost felt like Judgment Day here. The test should not be the last though, because day 4 sealed the team's fate. Strong side winds have emerged since morning. An oncoming Australian road train causes additional air turbulence. Too much for the ultralight vehicle. The driver loses control through no fault of his own. Does the dream end almost 2,100 kilometers south of Darwin?
Broke!
As if by a miracle, the driver can get out of the wreck seemingly unharmed. The protective measures already planned during vehicle development, such as a reinforced safety cockpit, 4-point seatbelt and roll bar, have proved their worth. Yet all of them are deeply shocked. While the driver in the accident is comforted and finally taken by another car to the nearest hospital for a checkup, the technicians in the team make a damage report. Will the vehicle make it back onto the track again? The windshield is broken. The underbody is broken. 3 wheel arches are broken. At second glance, the damage is not as bad as they feared. Although the aerodynamic outer shell has been severely damaged, the most important mechanical and electrical components still work flawlessly. The team makes a daring plan. A temporary workshop is set up in a tent on site. The ambitious goal: sending the Covestro Sonnenwagen back on the road. I'm relatively optimistic that we will be back on the road in the foreseeable future. We can do a lot with duct tape. Anything loose will be removed now. We'll fix the taillight, check the electrics. The crash structure didn't seem to be damaged. Clean up, wait for the wind to go away. Put the second windshield in the front and go on. And indeed, after 5 hours of repairing under the most difficult conditions, it seems to be done. But no one can say yet whether the repairs will endure. We did it. We fixed it. Let's go. Of course, it would be annoying if something happened again, but I'm very confident that we can continue driving like this. Of course, we have to fit in a little more now, but we will. We'll start off slow. We'll check everything. Thus, I'm confident for now. Of course, you get a little tense. But yes, let's have a look. The students from Aachen are back in the race. Although a few ranks were lost, thanks to the cooperation of the whole team, the next control stop in Kubapedi is reached. The driver who was in the accident is already waiting there. The medical controls have confirmed that he is fine. I'm glad the car is still driving, of course, but I actually thought it was over now, like for Team 20. And only afterwards I realized that when we had the crash, first I thought, shit, we were already fourth. We did everything so well for 2 years, the whole team, and now it's gone. Of course, that makes me all the happier that the car can go on driving. But only afterwards I thought about the safety, but I was damn lucky. and that I just, well, nothing happened to me at all. That means everything went well. Until the evening, everyone has to gather again and process the shock. But the accident also brought the team together even more. Now they know that nothing can stop them now. We have to see about the weather and the car tomorrow, but we're confident that it will work out, so we now have to discuss what still has to be done on the vehicle, whether it can go on like this, whether there will be one or two small visual things that need repairing, or whether we will leave it in silver and black and white. We will discuss that later if we find a minute. I think the silver looks good. We should keep this as a design decision. As the sun sets in the outback, they prepare for the final stage of the race. Despite the multiple rollover at high speed the day before, this morning the whole team is highly motivated. The 30 tents of the night camp have already been dismantled by the support crew. It goes on. In the so-called chase vehicle, the driving strategy is optimized all the time. Contrary to what one would initially assume, the car is driven more slowly in the sunlight in order to go easy on the battery. When cloud appears, they accelerate in order to return to sunny areas as quickly as possible. In the meantime, it was possible to jump from 6th to 5th place until a technical issue forced the car to stop again. Unfortunately, one of the dampers exploded due to the accident. Yes, literally, the oil was actually gushing out. It had to be changed. And that took us a little time again. And now we're here. What happened, happened. Yes, otherwise you would have made it without this damper situation, wouldn't you? Exactly, that cost us a little time. Otherwise we probably would have made it all the way to Adelaide. But now we'll get there tomorrow morning. About 170 kilometers from the goal in Adelaide, the last night's camp will be set up. The last sunrise and the last kilometers. The efforts of the past days are in everyone's bones. Nevertheless, a last time they will engage the race with full force. How does it feel to get back into that car now? It's definitely a good feeling. We've got like 160 kilometers to go. We still have an opponent who is 20 to 30 kilometers ahead of us. We'll have to see if we can still get him. Other than that, we'll hopefully get to the finish line today. In the heat of Australia, the Covestro Sonnenwagen is headed towards its destination. Then after 3,022 kilometers full of ups and downs, the time has come. The solar vehicle of Team Sonnenwagen Aachen crosses the finish line to the cheers of all the team members and relatives or acquaintances who came just for the race. It's crazy to finally be here. We made it to the finish line with our vehicle. Yeah, that's just wild. The vehicle finally arrived here in Adelaide, our ultimate destination. It took us 2 years to prepare for this. Now we've made it. The team is happy. Everything's really good. It's a lot of fun. My parents are here. My friends are here. It couldn't be any better right now. In spite of the serious accident, a respectable 6th place was achieved in the end, while many other teams had to give up during the race. The vehicle itself has proven that innovative and sustainable mobility concepts are already possible and feasible, which is also thanks to the help of technological partnerships such as with Covestro. We're completely satisfied with the performance of the car. The vehicle is incredibly efficient, it's very fast, it's very compact, and the vehicle even exceeded our expectations. The driving strategy had to improve the car again during the race. They had to say, okay, it's even more efficient on the 3,000 kilometers long racetrack than we thought it would be. During the World Solar Challenge, the team itself not only experienced the respect and recognition from the other teams, but also received 2 special awards from the managers of the race. The Safety Award for Vehicle Safety and Exceptional Behavior in the Racing Process, and the Spirit of the Event Award for Outstanding Team Spirit. I think what we can take away from this race is that maybe in 2021 we'll be even more professional in the race procedures. Maybe we'll even improve the production. I think with these improvements, we really have a good chance to get a top ranking. Across the Australian continent, driven by the power of the sun, it certainly won't be the last race for the students from Aachen.